Brother, this might as well be the intro to a horror game. It may not rely on abstract creatures or loud jump scares. There aren't no boss fights, no inventory management. Instead, it presents something far more disturbing: the horrific nature of war.
Help me!
War is cruel, brutal, relentless, and destructive, and none of that would have been clear to me if it weren't for this work of fine art. It doesn't waste your time with heroics, nor does it try to force brutality down your throat. I'm looking at you, World War II. Just a stark reminder of how brutal war is, and an homage to the veterans who participated in it. I don't even like history, yet this game alone had me up at 3 AM watching documentaries. But it wasn't like that back in 2008. See, when COD 4 Modern Warfare was released, it felt like a new era of FPS games had emerged. People were expecting the biggest follow-up to a revolutionary game, and instead they got another World War II entry. The game was already fighting an uphill battle, and that's why you see a ton of love for it in today's age, but mixed opinions when it was released. However, today my job is to explore whether the game holds up after all these years. What really makes it stand out above the rest of the World War II shooters, and most importantly, how did it manage to crack through that thick skull of mine and get me to love it this much? Well, I think it's best we dive deep into the campaign of World at War. We begin with the conflict between the US and Japan, and play as a soldier named Miller who was missed in action, and through his eyes we witness potentially his last moments alive.
You are strong? 貴様は強くない。
Miller, you're okay. Thank God. We're gonna make them pay for what they've done.
The game already establishes the brutal ways of the Japanese at the time, but we haven't even begun. We fight our way through to leave the island, but then a private called Ryan gets attacked. I figured Spielberg would sue me if I didn't save him. The US forces attempt to force a Japanese surrender, but it's like talking to a brick wall. They didn't budge, and we had to resort to other ways, aka blasting them. We get a moment of silence where we can catch our breath.
Shh! What the hell is this?
Check it out.
Looks like a temple or some shit.
Hold your ground! Hold your ground!
Oh boy, do the Japanese love setting traps. In fact, they do it again, but this time with flashing involved. It still couldn't stop my precise aim from annihilating them. Eventually, we blow up the entire base and leave on boats. 2 years after our first mission, the US Army, including me, are sent to take control of Peleliu Island. Another D-Day kind of mission. Not my cup of tea. So we land on the island and immediately meet unimaginary resistance by the Japanese. Now the entire time I'm thinking, if these guys were there for Tsushima, that entire game wouldn't even happen, they'd be set. But I get it. Different eras, different mindsets. But what matters most is that we have a flamethrower. World at War doesn't necessarily portray either side as the good or the bad. Yes, the Japanese have watched too many Saw movies, but we're also burning them to death and even cheering when it happens. Also, the gore in this game is unbelievable. Back then, they weren't afraid of showing you the reality of war. You'd shoot someone, then see his limb fly off, or injure someone so bad, then notice him dragging himself on the ground to try and pull up his pistol. Sometimes, they'd even cook a grenade to take you down with them. Brutal, but realistic and eye-opening. Anyway, the Japanese are evolving and coming up with new tactics. My brothers, this is not good. They're hiding in trees and charging at us with bayonets. If the battlefield doesn't kill me, my heart rate will. Ultimately, we call an airstrike on their forces and win the battle. But our mission is not over yet. We still need to take control of the airfield. One of the soldiers finds a dead body of ours, but it turns out to be a booby trap. The Japanese got a ton of MG turrets. Our flamethrower guy flatlines, so now it's up to me to clean the bunkers. We reach the building where the Japanese are holed up in, so I grab a noob tube and end their misery. This building is also one of the zombies maps. Yeah, it's pretty cool and all, but reused assets. I see the laziness, Treyarch, I'm not stupid, but I can excuse such blasphemous acts if the game is this cinematic. Just look at this. At last, the Japanese try their hardest to keep the airfield, but our airstrikes come to save the day. And then, one of the greatest COD missions of all time. We play as Private Dmitri, who alongside Sergeant Reznov is trying to hunt down the German general who was responsible for the deaths of the Red Army soldiers in Stalingrad. Reznov hands me a sniper rifle to take out the Germans, but we don't want to alert the rest with the noise, so I synchronize the shots with the aircrafts flying above us. Reznov keeps referring to the general as an animal, a prey that he as a hunter is seeking. These little details give you a bigger image on Reznov as a character. He's an asshole, I'll admit it, but in a lot of ways, he's low-key justified. Meanwhile, as we try to hunt him down, we get shot at by a sniper. Oh boy, I've been waiting for times like this. A 1v1 between me and this German nobody. So it turns out this guy has 17 lives. However, I eventually shoot him down. But then an army of Germans try to burn us inside, and we escape in a Marvel-ass cutscene. Afterwards, we get saved by a group of fellow soldiers and reach the rat himself. They try to destroy the building, but we escape safely through the river. Fast forward 3 years. I get caught with my pants down in Germany by a few nasty Germans. They got me holed up in some weird house. Then Reznov emerges from the shadows and saves me. He hands me a rifle to kill the Germans, but what he doesn't know is that I left that life behind. I am a changed man. No, I'm not. In the eyes of the German, I'm the boogeyman. I alone am responsible for half of their manpower being wiped, but it's not enough and we still gotta push. Reznov talks down to another man called Chernov. Reznov is Chernov's biggest hater, hands down. He basically says that Chernov hasn't earned riding a tank yet. But my question is, what has Reznov done himself to even say that? I haven't seen that guy kill a single soul in gameplay. But he still needs to aura farm, so he gives a big and useless speech to lead us into victory. Let's take a minute and circle back to the American front. We're back to Peleliu Island, but this time I have the flamethrower in my hand. We destroy some mortar crews and continue on tanks. After being ambushed, we fight our way out and push them to the tunnels, where we finally take control of the island. Unfortunately, this only means we are going back to Reznov. But this time we're driving a tank. Yeah, you know it, I know it, this is the worst mission in the game. It's not that bad, but I was snoozing for half of it. The entire mission is just shooting down towers and beefy tanks. That's not my definition of fun, so let's skip to the meaty part. The Red Army nears in on Berlin by my hands and mine alone. Then, we enter a mental asylum.
This place reeks of nightmares and madness, but only the insane would stand against us.
The atmosphere of this place is absolutely bone-chilling.
You hear something? No, that is why I am suspicious. Move carefully, comrades.
The next mission is also one of my favorites in the game.
He wants mercy. You do not deserve mercy. What mercy did you show to our people? Wait. He may help us. He can die for us. This is not war. This is murder.
This is how you end a war, Chernov!
From the get-go, you are welcomed with death. We slowly make our way to the subway, and after we shoot down an entire building, we notice a few surrendering Germans.
What's going on?
These men are trying to surrender!
Look around you, Chernov. Do you think these men will be denied their revenge? That comes only two ways. Fast or slow. Dmitri, it is your choice. Chernov, you should learn from Dmitri. He understands the nature of mercy killing.
We enter the metro and the lights go out. Perfect setup for a beating. I wouldn't be surprised if Batman was here. Unfortunately, that's not the case, and the Germans start flooding the metro to drown us there. That aside, we'll jump back to the Americans with possibly the single greatest turret section the franchise has ever seen. Black Cats. I'm talking about the mission name. Has a single track of music ever carried a mission this hard? I don't think so. Unlike literally any other turret section in the rest of the series, this mission constantly switches from one turret to the other, and the change of perspectives will never fail to keep me hooked. One minute you're soaring through the sky, the next you're in the middle of the ocean trying to save survivors. Black Cats hasn't been talked about enough. This is how you perfect this type of segment. Ultimately, we destroy the Japanese fleet and return to Private Miller, who is in a hell of his own. I throw some satchels on the MG bunkers and blow them sky high. Then me and Roebuck start helping the injured, and whilst carrying them to receive medical attention, he reveals that the Japanese are making their last stand at Shuri Castle. If we take it, we can all go home, safe and sound. And at last, we reach the castle. Just one final push lies between us and victory. I grab multiple mortar shells and blow the enemy to pieces. And then finally, the Japanese surrender.
Coming this way! Polanski, search him.
On the ground, now!
Keep those hands up! Miller!
Roebuck! Miller! They killed the Sarge! The bastards killed him! You sons of Hold the line!
We try to hold them off, but their numbers are overwhelming. And just as we were about to lose hope, our prayers were answered.
Damn. We made it. We did it. It's over.
Everything that was asked of us, we've done. Every night we lay in a filthy foxhole praying the enemy won't slit our throats. Every day we've spent crawling through the mud and the dirt while bullets whistle all around. This is the enemy's last stand. When we take Shuri Castle, we go home. All of us.
Lastly, we go back to Dmitri after the flooding of the subway. The final push for the Reichstag. We have to take out 3 German weapons and keep on pushing to the building. Playing this mission on Veteran was hell in itself. The never-ending grenade spam was diabolical. It's not even just the grenade spam, but every time you throw back a grenade, somehow it doubles and comes back at you. These Germans, man, they're too handy. But after an insane performance from me, we create an opportunity of entering the building.
Someone should read this.
April 30th, 1945. When he first spoke of Dmitri, Reznov told tales of a hero. Someone we should all aspire to be like. At times, I have seen him show mercy, and at others act with complete brutality. I do not understand him. Perhaps heroes need not question their actions.
Chernov's choice of words changed depending on your actions. If you shoot the surrendering Germans, his words will focus on Dmitri being too brutal and not an example of a hero. But if you spare all of the Germans, his words will be the total opposite. And in my case, I got the neutral side, which is the most appropriate in my opinion. There is absolutely no black and white in this case. Either way, we have to storm the Reichstag and kill the remaining Germans. The general feeling is of anger and revenge, and the music heightens that feeling and adds to it. Finally, it's time to raise the flag and announce our victory.
You can make it, my friend. You always survive. The honor should be yours. As long as you live, the heart of this army can never be broken. Things will change, my friend. As heroes, we will return to Russia's embrace.
We are gathered here, representatives of the major warring powers, to conclude a solemn agreement whereby peace may be restored. It is my earnest hope, and indeed the hope of all mankind, that from this solemn occasion, a better world shall emerge out of the blood and carnage of the past. A world founded upon faith and understanding. Of man and the fulfillment of his most cherished wish of freedom, tolerance, and justice.
Every time that disclaimer appears, I get chills. And it doesn't work solely because it reflects a horrific reality, but because I've played through the entire game and lived through its portrayal of war's horrors. I understand the weight of that statement now. Using it at the beginning of the game would have barely affected me. Again, I am looking at you. I'm glad they didn't focus on a story of young men dying on the battlefield in this game. Not necessarily because that type of story can't be powerful, but I'd rather see a campaign focused on the war itself and how ugly and brutal it is, how humans can sometimes forget their humanity if pushed to the limit. This game dabbles so much in the gray area, and I absolutely salute it for that. There are a ton of background actions you might not even notice that portray the cruelty of war. The Soviets killing the surrendering Germans, the hanging of German soldiers for deserting, the torturing of the Japanese, and cheering for burning humans. They don't shove those scenes in your face and spoon-feed you that, "Oh no, war is bad." And the soundtrack is literally a game of its own. Charging with the Soviets while this is playing makes you feel like you are indeed one of them. The game also birthed the Zombies mode, one of the pioneers of COD nowadays, and the most convoluted story ever made next to FNAF. Seriously, don't even try understanding either of them. But this won't be the last time we hear of Reznov. He still has a huge part to play in the next entry of the Black Ops world, which I will cover in the next video. A huge thanks for watching to the end. If you enjoyed it, I'd appreciate a like and a sub to the channel. But in any case, see you in the next one.